beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.
Terrible with something in my hair.
Welcome to Talk Show Divas. Greetings, everyone. I am Renee Jackson, and I'm your host for this segment of Talk Show Divas. I would like the opportunity to allow the other divas to introduce themselves to you before we proceed on with our topic for today.
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Roselle Pompey. I am the Empress Mindset co-founder and also the goddess of travel. And I'm happy to be here. We're going to have an exciting show today, ladies. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Hi, everybody. My name's Tamar Lee, and I am the creator of Eve's Garden. And I'm so excited to be here. This has been an interesting week. I can't wait for us to get at it.
Good afternoon. Happy Sunday to all of you out there watching. My name is Mishla Moore. I'm an actress and entrepreneur, and today we're going to have the business about this week in the news.
Okay.
Take it away, Renee.
Well, thank you. Again, I'm still Renee, and I am an entrepreneur. I run a business by the name of Sparkle, which is a wardrobe styling and wardrobe rental business. So, like they said, we're getting ready to get to the business at hand. And please forgive us if we do not piggyback in any way off of what happened, our show from last week. We'll get back to that at another time, or maybe we'll segue in it, with this conversation. But I would just like to say, unless you've been in a coma or fighting for your life, no pun intended, because some of us have been. And I want to just shout out to my friend Jay. She knows who she is because she's been fighting for her life. We think everybody knows what happened on January the 6th, but everybody doesn't. Some people still are being affected by the coronavirus. Some people are fighting for their life, and what happened on January the 6th is of no importance to them. But it will be, and it will affect you in one way or another. So I would just like to say, I'm sure a lot of us want to turn in our subscription for 2021 because we were so looking forward to 2021. I know I had a conversation with my son. He was like, I want 2020 to be over with. I'm so ready. And I had to share with him that, the gift is in the moment because we have no idea what 2021 is going to bring us. It could be worse than what we just had encountered. And lo and behold, on January the 6th, just for a tidbit for those who are not aware as to what happened on January the 6th, Trump supporters, they had a rally, and the supporters, which he had been lying to, telling them that they had stolen the election, had a rally. And therefore, in the midst of that occurred in Washington, D.C., on Capitol Hill, they were there with their regular traditional meeting that they have every term, transferring the presidential power over. And at that point in time, while they were having the rally, he enticed this riot, and where his supporters came in and they emerged upon Capitol Hill. So we're not going to beat a dead horse. We're not going to go all into, what happened, because right now you can Google it. You can find out, just exactly what took place. What I want to do with my extraordinary everyday host is just to, pose a certain question to them and allow them to give their views, their insight, and their takes as to how they feel about what happened. So I want to start with Mishala. I want you to just, give your insight as to how you feel about what happened.
Ooh, I wasn't surprised, not in the least, of what happened. President Trump has been inciting, we call it like followers now, because we don't even want to say the Republican Party, because this is not what a democracy is about. The way he has behaved and where he has incited his followers, because it's almost like a cult following, that they do his bidding. And it's going to come out. It's going to come out, and it's going to be lengthy judicial documents that's going to come out, because they picking up everybody that they can put a face recognition to that was in the Capitol, the insurgents, the coup, whatever you want to call it. They're going to pick them up. And it is very sad that these people put their life and liberty on the line for someone who does not care anything about them. And that he just wanted them to do his bidding because he was sour about losing the election. They have had so many, and you can read it and follow it on Google. You can look up all the documents. Everything has been dotted and everything has been crossed. All of the reviews have been done. There's nothing else to do except change over the power to the incoming president and vice president-elect. So I challenge all my Republican friends, and I do have several. I challenge all of you to look to your common sense from wherever you came from, whether you know me from backwoods, Winona, Mississippi, North Chicago, Waukegan, Illinois. Challenge yourself to use common sense, because if these people were using common sense, they wouldn't have been there. They were just running on fuel. Somebody told them something. Oh, we're going to storm. This was planned out. This was not something that they just showed up and decided to do. They knew all well that they were going to go to the Capitol. They knew that they were going to siege the Capitol. They had invitation, and I'm gonna let everybody else have their own say about what they think happened or what their response is. But that's my response for right now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Whoever else would like to chime in, would you like to chime in, Tamar, in reference to your insight?
I'll let Roselle go. I'm still
Okay, Roselle, go ahead. I want to hear your insight. I want to hear your viewpoint and your take from it.
So the thing was, to Mishala's point, I am not surprised that they were protesting this. What I was surprised about was the hatred that they entered in this building. I could actually feel it.
Wow.
I could feel all the evilness that they felt in their lives. It was like descended on democracy. It was an attack on democracy. And the world stage is looking at the United States of America in total disgust, because people are saying this is the example of what democracy should be. Yes, we've had protests and coup d'etats that happen in other quote-unquote third world countries, right? Where the military took over or the people protesting and took over. Several examples of that. But in this case, in the case of the third world countries, they were trying to do it for democracy or to even the playing field in these countries, because the economic divide is so big. Over here, you have people who are trying to squash democracy. And you have the leader, quote unquote leader of the free world, inciting a riot. And I do agree. I had conversations today that this is a cult environment. This is not a political party.
Yes.
And shame on you all for encouraging this type of behavior. They should have either impeached him months ago or instituted the 25th Amendment. But I understand now that they're putting in the process to impeach. And the reason why doing that is that he will lose all his benefits as a president. And I think as taxpayers, we shouldn't be paying for a dime for him.
Okay.
You know, and I do understand that feels like he's fighting for his life because there's going to be some federal charges brought up against him. But I mean, I was like, I felt, I knew it, but it was kind of shocking to actually see it in action.
See it. Okay. Okay.
And my problem is they need to treat this situation just as they are treating it with the Black Lives Matters protesters. They're giving them up to life for peacefully protesting. Let's say that one more time. They're giving them life for peacefully protesting.
Wow.
And this is a federal crime. This is treason, and you cannot treat it any less.
Okay.
And right now I'm getting really emotional about it and angry. So I don't want to go there. But I just think that we need to sit back and look at this is what we're talking about. How are you going to give peaceful protesters 25 to life when you have people who are storming and trying to kill and destroy our democracy? No, absolutely not. So I'm going to simmer down for a little bit.
Simmer down, simmer down. Simmer down. Okay. How do you feel, Tamar?
There were a lot of mixed feelings
Okay.
for me, especially when I watched this on television take place. My ancestors built that house. So I had no problem with them tearing it down. That house has never been one that I have been welcomed in. There are not people that reside in that White House that are looking out for people that look like me in our best interests. Hence the $600 stimulus check that they just tossed to everybody. They were not doing their job. So I had a moment of jubilee.
Okay. All right.
It is like, I come from the thought where Malcolm X said, the chickens have come home to roost, America.
Okay. All righty.
The violence that you have perpetrated around the world
Okay.
has come home to greet you. And it was a huge slap in the face. It was an awakening. I thought it was interesting that they were saying, oh my gosh, this is not America. This is not who we are.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
it is.
this is who you are. You got this country by acts of violence. The wealth that you have acquired has been through acts of violence. The slave labor that you brought over here to build your foundation is from acts of violence and mispropriety. So when everyone's saying Trump, 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 we have hundreds of years of history of this attitude.
That's right.
Way before him. I don't like that everybody is laying this at his foot because to me it's so unfair.
That's true. You're right.
These
That's
are
true.
deep-seated, emotional selves of entitlement.
Yes.
Anytime the majority feels like someone is taking something away from them or they have to share the power or share the wealth, this is where their anger, and because to me it was like watching a lynch mob just multiplied by thousands.
That's true.
Come together, we're gonna come in here and get and take and do with whatever we want to. And it was just me sitting back and saying, okay, this is 2021. I believe we're having a global reset. And to me, that was the opening act. So I am really interested.
Fantastic.
You're right.
You mentioned
Fantastic.
lynch mob. Lynch. You know they erected
They had
a noose
a noose and a guillotine.
And a guillotine.
and a guillotine on one of the South Lawn or something of the
Yes.
Capitol.
Another
Can you imagine what civil rights leaders who are still living, who were in the 50s, in the 60s, who are older than that lived through Jim Crow South? Could you imagine what they felt watching white people erect a guillotine with a noose hanging from it, and what symbolism that meant to them, and what symbolism it means to us as Americans? It was a real bad day. It was just.
Do you think? But it was. I felt like there was so much hypocrisy going on in the media. Like, oh my gosh.
And it
Well,
has, and it
wasn't
is,
it?
and it was.
It was.
Let me share this, ladies, my take on that. Because at the time when that had occurred, right? You know how you're at your laptop or your computer? And I was at my laptop and computer, and I had actually dozed off and had fallen asleep. And I had my phone started ringing, right? So I answered the phone. You know how you answer the phone and you're almost asleep, you're half asleep, but you answer anyway. And my girlfriend, Kim Marie, hey girl, she was like, do you see these folks on TV? What's going on? And I'm like, well, what's going on Family Feud? And she was like, oh, excuse me, we're gonna get back to that in a minute. We have to take a commercial break and we will resume with this conversation. Thank you all, come back with us.
Yo, what's up, y'all? I'm Dynasty Smith, and I'm your host for The Flavor, where we're going to be showcasing some of the hottest independent artist videos from all around. So y'all tune in every Wednesday at 8 o'clock by typing into your YouTube bar, TV 1061. So if you go into your YouTube search bar, type in TV 1061 to join us every Wednesday at 8 o'clock to check out some of the hottest new independent artist videos from all over. If you want to check us out on Facebook, just type in The Flavor and you can find us on Facebook. And yo, for you artists out there, lights, camera, action. Now the camera's on you. If you want to get your video aired on The Flavor, then you need to hit us up at 1061tv@gmail.com. Send us your YouTube link, and then we'll get back to you on details on how you can be on The Flavor.
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom Inc. Reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Welcome back. Thank you all for joining us again as we continue this conversation. Before we continue on, let me just allow you all to know that we are live on Roku on TV 1061, as well as on Facebook and YouTube. Also, on Wednesdays, we have The Flavor, which airs at 8 p.m., as well as The Playlist on Wednesday, and that's at 9:30. On Saturday, we have The Conversation, which is at 3:30 p.m., and The Bedroom Chronicles at 4:30. Also, Sundays, which is today, we have your own Talk Show Divas at 4:30, followed by The Talk Show Kings, which airs at 6:30. Just giving special acknowledgement to our executive producer, Mr. Felix Washington, our social media director, which is Shantae Barksdale, as well as our technical support person, which is Jason Pulley. So we're going to continue on with our conversation. You know, I was sharing about where I was in my mindset when the coup occurred. You know, I had dozed off. I was on the computer. I had dozed off. I had a call from my friend, and she was like, "Do you see these mofos, what's going on TV?" And I was like, what's going on? And I kind of woke up, and I'm like, I'm watching Family Feud. She was like, put it on a national TV station. I'm watching the game show 116 where all the games are on, right? And I look and I see these people climbing up the building, and I'm like, don't fall, fool. And she was like, no, they need to fall. And then when I became conscious aware of what was going on, so they weren't trying to jump. While I was telling them don't fall, they were climbing up to come and take over something. And I just sat there in total disbelief and total dismay. But what I felt was that, as I continued to watch and hearing the feedback from the commentators on the news, was that they were more mad that the children from the corn or the children from underneath the stairs have came out to play. Now the world can see what we really look like. You know those examples was like, this is what really mad look like, or this is what ugly looks like, and there's the picture. That was my takeaway from that. They were more upset to me, in my estimate, as to now the world can really see what we really look like. The world of the free, the home of the brave, and all of the things that, you know what I'm saying, that sound so beautiful and colorful, because who they put out in front, in my estimate, they all look like they were first cousins. They mama, sister, brother, uncle, son. They were all related. That's just me, because I'm looking at them, you know, whether they were on whatever type of, whatever. But the look of hatred and evil was, I mean, it was clearly displayed, you know. So we're going to move on to, that's just my take. That was my viewpoint and when I witnessed what we saw on January the 6th. So, what we were saying. Sure, go ahead.
Can I say something, though? I know it's very easy for everyone to discount the protesters and say they're crazy and this, that, or the other. They are Americans that felt they needed to mobilize because they felt like something was being taken from them. And regardless of how they rationalize that, what I will say I admire is when people mobilize and come together so they can be heard, and not just heard from their street corners or heard from their living room. They took it to the street capitol. And it's the same thing that we did in the 60s when Martin Luther King had the March on Washington as well. And so what I'm saying, so many times people just sit back and complain and do nothing. And then each year we turn around and we're in the same place and we're still complaining about doing nothing. And then we're hoping by voting or electing someone, they're gonna change something for us. What I will say is they get busy. They mobilize, they stand up for what they believe in. And that is an admirable quality in anyone, regardless of whether you think the charge or the thinking behind it. You kind of know what I mean? Regardless of whether you think it was crazy. They had Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas' wife. She was one of the people that organized a lot of the buses to get them there.
Oh, wow.
That was something that the media has not brought out yet.
It's coming.
Supreme Court Justice
It's
wife.
It's
She
coming.
was the one who paid and orchestrated for a lot of the busing of those people that came in.
Interesting.
And then you have to understand the military who just passed this huge budget that we pay for, they were told to stand down. There was no military presence whatsoever.
Very interesting.
And the reason why there wasn't any military presence is because they requested President Trump to call in the National Guard, and he refused. And so those actions, you know, I know, Tamar, you're saying that, you know, like it's admirable that they were able to mobilize. Fools can mobilize. I mean, and it's admirable when Black Lives Matters mobilized and they did so in the masses, but were met with
Rubber bullets,
tear gas. And you can just Google Black Lives Matter on the Capitol. You'll see that there is hundreds of officers that they were met on Stair 2. They couldn't get to the Capitol to protest.
Right. Exactly.
They were met on Stair 2. It's a young African-American guy. He's going viral. And he was there at the protest filming. And he said, and I'm going to quote him, he said, "We were just here a couple months ago, 6 brothers in suits, and we were stopped on Stair 4. So I don't care what, you know, like how, you know, you may think that this was admirable. What I think is admirable is when you stand up for causes that are just. Everybody has an opinion. You could be Republican, Democrat, Independent. Your opinion is valuable in this country. That's what it's supposed to. The way you measure your opinion, but the way we measure our opinion is at the poll. So they voted, we voted, and we elected a new president. We elected 2 new congressmen that are going to represent us from the state of Georgia, which in turn flipped the House, the Senate.
The Senate.
Flipped the Senate.
Majority.
So use your vote wisely, use your common sense wisely, mobilize for just causes. And I'm not saying that your opinion as a Republican or a patriot is not a just cause, but there are ways to do it, and there are ways to do it justly. You see, it's a big difference in how black folks are treated when we mobilize versus how white folks are treated when they mobilize.
Right.
It's laid out for the world to see. We are met with dogs, bullets, death, everything.
Right.
You're going to die for yours if you black and you protest.
Right.
White people are ushered in. They got videos. A police officer
Let 'em in.
moves the barricade and says, come on in, folks. Destroy this, what we built.
Right. And
Okay.
taking selfies.
Taking selfies.
And what about that video where you see the security guard or the officer at the Capitol, African American, who's leading the crowd up to
He's running away.
Yes,
and
he's
then
running.
and then he comes to another level because he's reporting every step that he takes.
Yes.
He's trying to,
He's
yes.
trying to, and then he comes to one section of the Capitol building, and all you saw was they're just like standing there looking.
Okay. So what do you all think? Let me say this. Let me share this. And Tamar, I get what you're saying, and I understand and respect your sentiment. But my take on that is that, Jim Jones got them to drink the Kool-Aid.
Oh.
These were business people. These were professional business people all around the country that flew with him to another country for this one nation under whatever the move that was.
Right.
And he got these people who were supposed to be responsible, somewhat of a sane type of mentality to drink the Kool-Aid. That's how I feel about Trump. If he wanted them to drink the Kool-Aid, they would drink the Kool-Aid. He ain't going to drink the Kool-Aid for them. He's not willing to die for them. He's already thrown them under the bus. They're not willing to do that. Let me finish real quick.
Okay.
Whatever evil or whatever cause they want to put all their energy to, and totally neglect the fact that they have other people like families, because that's another thing they're talking about, their families, because their families are not really on the same page that they're in.
Correct.
So you fuse all of this hatred and this negativity and whatever they feel about our government because they're domestic terrorists and you're willing to die for it based on whatever. When you infuse that and you're the president of this free world country, it says a whole lot about how you got them to galvanize, how you got them to mobilize, how you got them unified, because you fed them what they were already on. They were on a level of hatred already, and you took their hatred to the highest level. Because I heard some of the reporters that were reporting, they were like, the look in their eyes was not even human.
Nope.
The look in their eyes were something that I've never seen before.
Demonic.
Yes, there you go, demonic. And that's what I'm saying. So we're going to continue on. So interject, as you were stating.
My whole thing is this. Every black death that we see happen, we march, it's on TV, mama comes out, I'm going to forgive you. I'm curious to see for us as a community, what is going to be our hot button? Our women were being murdered, our men are being murdered, our children are being murdered. I need to see us get crazy.
Okay.
Wait, stop.
Go ahead.
Because
Go ahead.
we have been sitting here for over 400 years. And it seems like no matter what gets done to us, we don't get crazy.
Okay, then this is going to be my next
My question is,
this is my
why-
question that
why
I'm going
are
to
we
pose.
not-
Excuse me. This is going to be the question I'm going to pose. And it's going to feed right into
just
where
said-
you are. So do you feel that violence is necessary?
It's not
and why? No, my question is violence. Do you feel that violence is necessary? Violent in whatever formation that you want to put it in that content, do you feel that violence is necessary? And explain.
When you are talking about revolution, when you are talking about power, no one is going to give it to you.
Correct.
Ex the Italians, ex the Irish, ex the French, ex every European ethnicity on the face of this world. Did someone say, here you go, nice job. You take what is necessary in order for the continuity of your race. We are dying. We have been under siege for decades, and we are still here thinking a Joe Biden or a Kamala Harris or the Democratic Party is going to save us. They are not. No one is coming for you. We will have another person murdered in the streets. We just had this, it just came out that the Blake guy, they weren't going to press charges. When are we going to get upset enough? I'm just kind of wondering, temperature check Black America.
Okay. Okay.
Good point.
Okay.
That's an
Answer
excellent
that. I
Paying
want you to answer
taxes-
that question.
You're paying taxes into, excuse me, you're paying taxes into this system, and you're getting the least amount out of it.
Okay, because we're going to move to that. We're going to move to that. Stay there for us. Stay there.
I don't
Stay
know.
there. Okay, excuse us. Right now, we got to go to commercial break. And when we get back, we'll continue with this topic. Thank you all for joining us.
How can you find a reliable source of CBD products? Introducing Holistic Wellness Boutique, a revolutionary collection of CBD tinctures, CBD topicals, CBD edibles, CBD pet products, and other relevant CBD products that help you incorporate CBD into your everyday lifestyle. The best part? Through our special Radiant Transformations program, Dr. Alea Daniel, PharmD, a well-regarded wellness coach, licensed pharmacist, and the mind behind the idea of Holistic Wellness Boutique, will also introduce you to a healthier lifestyle through proper education, nutrition, and a thorough medication evaluation to make the most of our exemplary CBD products. If you are struggling with a chronic condition, we can help you discover how to live a more holistic lifestyle through wellness coaching and the proper selection of hemp-derived CBD products. Visit HolisticWellnessBoutique.com to schedule a consultation or order an audacious combination of hemp-derived CBD products that will rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit.
Welcome to Burke's Jewelry. How may I help you?
We're looking for engagement rings.
We offer a wide selection. However, I believe we have just what you're looking for. Burke's Jeweler is your family's jeweler at 491 Flat Shoals Avenue Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30316 in East Atlanta Village.
Should evoke the 25th.
All right, thank you guys for tuning back in with us. We're still here with Talk Show Divas, and we're going to continue on with the conversation. And as we left off, we were speaking about whether or not we feel if violence is necessary and explaining why. So, Roselle, you were getting ready to express your point.
So, it's a mixed bag for me.
Okay.
I see the power of nonviolence. I also see the power of violence as well in regards to making change. And I think the younger version of me would have been like, we need to fight by any means necessary.
Okay.
But I'm starting to, my mindset is to evolve a little bit more, where I'm seeing that when you have, there's movements where you've seen India with Gandhi, with the British, where he started this non-violence. How do you, there's two mindsets. When someone is standing in front of you and is firm and determined not to be moved and doesn't have a weapon in it, how do you tackle that kind of mindset? That's a powerful mindset, because they're waiting for you to act violently. I mean, you think about it, we don't have the weapons to combat with what's going on. If they want to, they can truly shut down. So we have to figure out non-violent tactics that will have the effects of a violent action.
Okay.
And I think that would be more powerful, but I understand what you're saying. Revolutions traditionally, if you wanted to create change, you went in there and tackled, because the American Revolution, Civil War, World War I, the
Boston
War of
Tea Party.
1812. The Boston Tea Party was the start of the American Revolution.
It's about taxes.
Okay? Representation without taxation. I mean, taxation without representation. So that movement was an aggressive movement and a guerrilla warfare that the British were not prepared for. Now, could we unite and do something like that? And what do we do afterwards?
So, and pretty much you're saying you're in the middle.
I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle.
I'm in the middle.
Okay, you're in the middle.
'Cause
You
I
feel in
see-
some
I see the
cases
balance.
It can be of necessity,
You've seen
and
it-
then another
you've
way that
seen
it
it go
cannot
both
be.
ways.
Yes.
Okay, you go both
Yes.
ways on
You've
it.
seen it
What
go
about you,
Because,
Miss Shalon?
because can I say one more point too? We've seen results of nonviolence, and we've seen the results of violence. And there's some cases where you have to protect yourself. If someone's coming to attack me, I got to protect
You
myself.
have to be ready. Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Sorry,
Perfect.
go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'm not in the middle, I don't think. I think that revolution requires some level of violence, either by the oppressor or the one
that's being
the
oppressed.
one that's being oppressed.
That's true.
We look at the history of our country and nothing has changed without some type of violent occurrence before true action was realized. And to me right now, we do not, in the black community, do not have the leadership that's willing to lay down their life for this cause of black people in America realizing what our life pursuit of liberty and justice for all. You understand? So that's not going to happen because we don't have the type of leadership. You mentioned the Patriots were galvanized and they came together and they unified and they stood up for a cause. We don't have a call to action. We have groups like Black Lives Matter. We have the Nation of Islam. We have different sections.
Yes.
Yeah, we're very fractured.
Different splinters of what you're doing.
As far as beliefs and based on religion and
Values,
thoughts and things
yes.
and views. So we'll never realize that, I don't think, in our lifetime. I don't think we'll realize it. But what do we do in the meantime? What do we do in the meantime? And that's what we need to focus on. You know, understand what I'm saying?
There. Yes.
You know, like what do we do in the meantime?
We're going to get there. Let me say this though. Let me give my point of view about because I really do feel, is violence necessary? You know how you keep on asking someone really nicely to do something, and you keep asking them nicely. I don't like that when you do that, and when you start moving the furniture around, you get a result. So in a lot of cases that it means business. Because if you have to fight for your cause and you're willing to die for your cause, then that's the avenue in which you have to take. Our country, as everybody's like, oh, we're the free, the brave, and we're this and that. Our entire country was built on rape, robbing, killing, and stealing.
Right.
And we're trying to act like as if, you put a little bandage on it and now, because you can come here and you can do this. And America is one, and I'm pro-American, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But do I like it? No, I do not. No, I do not. Because of the way in which our country was built. The people that were at the Capitol Hill, one of the commentaries said they were walking around Capitol Hill just like they were walking through Walmart. That was the same mentality how they were walking through when they came to Africa to get us, to bring us over here to build this country. So their mentality of the right, the privilege, is still very, very prevalent in everything that we see and everything that we do. And if we don't think that it's affecting us in one form or another, because we've heard, back talk that, a lot of black people are thinking that it has nothing to do with us, let them fight it out. It has everything to do with us.
Can I interject?
Yes.
Mishla just made a very good point in saying that we're fractured as far as African Americans and what we believe and what we do.
That's
and this
true.
I am a student of history, and this is the reason why. J. Edgar Hoover said in the 1960s, the single greatest threat to America is black unity, which in that tone, he determined that he was going to dissolve the Black Panther Party by any means necessary.
That's true.
And he did it with murder.
That's true.
And disinformation.
Yes,
Right.
he did.
And he did it with they get down and they get dirty. So my whole thing is, if you look at the history and what the Black Panther Party was simply trying to do, they were trying to defend and police their neighborhoods
True.
from bad elements in the neighborhood, in addition to police brutality.
Right.
They were trying to feed the hungry. They were trying to get medical aid to people that need everything that they were doing.
Right.
Were positive things for us.
Right.
Right.
Why did that frighten the establishment? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself.
Tamar.
Why, when we're trying to be self-sustaining, stand on our own, we don't need anything from you, we're going to collectively help each other. Why does that frighten them to the
Tamar.
point that
Because
they have to?
the
Tamar?
playing field is not fair.
Who?
Period.
What's his name?
J. Edgar Hoover?
Yeah, Hoover. He did not invent that. That was something that came across over 500 years ago. It's called divide and conquer.
Okay.
Okay. So the
So he's a
Europeans.
student of history then too.
Yes. Oh, I'm a major in history. So when they went to Africa, and they stole the different tribes. Well, this is how they first did it. They told one tribe, your neighboring tribe is going to attack you. You need to attack them first before they come for you. Protect yourself. But it was all lies.
Lies.
And they used our different languages, because if you go into Africa in a small, let's say, 1,000-mile radius, you'll have like 5 or 10 different tribes speaking
languages.
different languages.
Okay.
Okay? So they use our diversity against us. They use our power against us. They studied us, and they used our weaknesses as well as our strengths against us. So the mentality is to go in, as soon as you see something rising up, let's squash it, because that's what Wednesday was all about.
Exactly.
Because on Tuesday,
Exactly.
we stood up for ourselves. Stacey
state of Georgia.
Abrams, with
That's
all
The Senate.
her different grassroots organizations, said, you know what? Oh, you cheated me with this? I'm going, because this is something that has been coming for a long time. I feel change is here already. That's why they're acting like they are. Change is here already. And to your point, Tamika Mallory, I don't know if you're familiar with her. There was something that she said throughout 2020 that resonated with me, is that the problem is we're looking for a leader. How about having thousands?
We don't need
of
one.
leaders?
I've always been the person that
That's
said
the
Why
whole
do we
thing,
have
yes.
to have a leader?
We don't need
All
a
of
leader.
us here are leaders.
every
Yes,
time
exactly.
we had one,
All of
What
us.
they
happens?
killed them and the movement died with them.
Exactly.
So we don't need a leader.
So she's of the mindset is no more
agree.
leadership. We're gonna go for a group
Or
to
individual.
organize themselves.
Exactly.
And several groups, and we're just gonna come and attack, because if you don't know who's the head, it's just
Of course.
the art of war.
Exactly.
But again,
But that's the
everything,
whole thing. Excuse me.
everything gets back to all of us getting on the same page.
Exactly.
Same
Even if we have
page.
different opinions.
And
Same
so,
page.
we
have a
let me say this,
common-
excuse me,
common
ladies,
ground.
whether we get on the same page or not, and how we get on the same page, because that is the mindset. And I use the word institutionalized, or however you want to feel about that, doesn't mean that you've been in an institution, but the separation from us from one another has been implanted in us. So therefore, we probably will never be on the same page at the same time on the same day.
Well, we were.
Because, but my point, let me finish. Because of the simple fact that my conscious awareness, see, some people is acting like this is no big deal. This is just another day. It's no big deal to them. Our conscious awareness to what just took place, to me, it might be at a level 10. To someone else, it's at a level 2. So if it's not at the same magnitude and the same importance, then therefore my energy and my thrust to move forward and how I'm going to bridge the gap in our communities, it's not of, it's great importance to me, but to my neighbor it may not be. So when I say that, that's what I mean in that regards. You okay?
And I understand what you're saying from that point of view.
Okay.
I say the opposite, that we will see it, and the reason why we saw the change was right here in Georgia.
Right.
When Stacey Abrams galvanized the black vote.
She did.
And brought millions of people who never voted in
That is
any
true.
election
That is true. She did
to
that.
the forefront. And we elected the first Jewish senator, John Ossoff. We elected the first African-American senator from Georgia,
That's right.
Reverend Warnock.
That's right.
So when we did those things here in Georgia, that incited white people who
Yes.
always knew that black people were never going to take their rights seriously to vote. And they said, well, we don't have to worry about that. We're going to keep building, using all the funds, taking everything, using all the funds, taking everything. And nonetheless, we don't care anything about what black people think, because black people don't vote for the change. Black people don't vote for people who represent their ideas. And so that changed in Georgia. We finally voted for someone that did.
Thank you so much. And on that note, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with you in a moment. Stay tuned.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Elmer Horn with Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and we're here at one of our communities, and Sheriff Pounds is here with us. And Sheriff Pounds is very involved in his communities, and he come out. We brought out our grill and our smoker so we can come out and help cook for this community. And Sheriff Pounds himself has come out and helped cook with us, and he's here to cook and help these folks today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the programs that I call Taking My Community Back. If you don't get out there and get involved in your community, you ain't gonna be able to get it back. And the sad part about it, we losing our young men at such a pace that it's unreal. We got to come up with something that will help us with these children. Got to. So this is what I'm doing. I love it. I'm out here in the sun. It's hot, but like I said earlier, we're gonna do these until we get that gap between law enforcement and the community bridge. We're gonna bridge that gap, because we're gonna get out of here, we're gonna shake hands, we're gonna find out if they got any kind of problem we can assist them with, and invite them to the sheriff's office and come to the roll call. Just come see what's going on at the office. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you, Sheriff Pounds. And like I said, this is...
Thank you, guys. Welcome back to Talk Show Divas. We had a technical difficulty on our last before commercial break, and Michelle was making a point, and so we're going to allow her to take that opportunity to rehash what she had previously stated.
Well, I believe I was responding to what Tamar had said earlier, where I think you said that you didn't think that we would realize
It was you said something about not needing a leader.
Okay,
And
about
you did
leadership,
something
about
collectively with the vote.
leadership in America. And I said that, I challenged that because we showed in Georgia that we all are leaders, and that we took over something that hadn't been done in the whole history of the state of Georgia, where as many black voters were galvanized to vote. And they did elect John Ossoff, who was the first Jewish senator to the U.S. Senate from the state of Georgia.
And the youngest.
And then Reverend Warnock, who was the first African American, we voted him in as well to the U.S. Senate. And that is something that never happened in the history of the state. So we can look to ourselves, I believe, to say that own your own, you know what I'm saying? Own your own stuff, you know? If you want change to happen, make change happen in you first. And the way to make change happen in this country is because we do and are led by a democracy. We have a right to vote. Exercise your right to vote.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much. My next question I would like to pose to you ladies is that what are you willing to do individually or collectively to bridge the gap in the black community? What would you be willing to do?
So for me, and that's a very, very excellent question to ask. ask, right? And I think I need to be more visible in the community. Me physically, volunteering my time, doing more mentorship. And that's where I started the Empress Mindset. But the Empress Mindset is not just an organization that's focused on the United States. It's a global initiative. But still, thinking of that is how I can personally do all the things that I'm talking about doing. You know,
Which is what?
Preaching, voting, being more active in the community, going to the school board meetings, going to the city council meetings, making my voice heard. If someone says they're going to do something and they're representing my district or my city, town, state, nation, and I don't agree, make my voice, heard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What about you, Tamar? What's your take on that? What's your feelings about that?
What I think, what's important for me is to educate and teach people what you can do outside of the system that constantly continues to fail you. I don't feel like we can renovate, put new curtains on this system. I feel like it needs to be totally torn down and built back up and or replaced.
Okay.
We have been window dressing, changing dresses, changing skirts on what is wrong with America since we got here. And she still stinks. So I don't care how many flowers you put on her or how much perfume. So what I think we should all do, and something that you said, engage in mentorship and teach people how they can think outside of the paradigm that they have been indoctrinated by our educational system to believe, to depend on the system and to depend on their oppressor for the very things that they need to survive. So that is agriculture, that is power economics, where we can put our $1 trillion economic dollars together and we can build and create things for ourselves and not keep asking other people. Where we can, as far as our educational systems and our educational curriculum, they don't want to teach our children what they need to know and take them out of the schools. Build your own schools, homeschool. Have a center in your community where they can go and learn things that's not taught in the school. You do not have to keep begging people for things that you can do yourself. There are a lot of people in our communities, athletes and celebrities, that are benefiting from the system as it is. So they're not going to help.
That's true.
So we need to have a level of, am I my brother's keeper? Am I my sister's keeper? Yes, I am. Jump in, roll our sleeves up, and get to work.
That's right. Do the work.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over a couple of comments. If you've been watching me, I've been reading and scrolling with the viewers who are participating online. You guys, we are on Roku and we're on YouTube as well as Facebook Live right now. So we have a lot of great conversation going on in our comments. Melanie Collins Blakely says, that's right, Black unity and education is the biggest fear tomorrow. She was responding to you. Another lady, Renee Warren, says, ladies, I agree, leadership isn't necessary. However, unity is. We must collectively unite as one. Support your sisters and brothers, and we must recognize our power. That's a great feedback about
Renee
that.
Warren.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Individually for myself, and what I realized that I've been doing, and this is just very small, excuse me, very small, but it's going to make a major impact for the people in which I am in my circle. Because what happened, I think it was about maybe a week ago, we were going to go to a national white train establishment. And I said, no, we're not going to go there. We're going to go to Coexum, which is a Black-owned restaurant. Because our spending dollar is so powerful, and we continuously, consistently, every single day, as you see us moving around in our neighborhoods, we're just always going and spending money somewhere where we're not appreciated and respected, but they want our money. So I go to the nail salon, I'm sure you all do go to the nail salon, and the hair salon, and wherever you go. If it's not a Black establishment right now, if it's not a white, if it's not Black, I don't want to go. So that's what I'm finding out, because I'm sure in my neighborhood there is a convenience store that possibly may be owned by someone who's Black, and that's where I want to patronize that particular place. But we don't know that. We don't have a directory to tell us on every corner, on every street, who owns it. So we just typically move in the same fashion in which we're used to. So for me, how I plan on doing that is that as I spend my money, and the other day I went out, and wherever I went to spend my money was at a black restaurant, it was at a black-owned nail technician, black esthetician, whatever I do on that level, and allow my peers to know as well that this person over here can provide you that same service.
Yeah.
Because we're just so conditioned to move around the same way which we did last week, as opposed to saying that we have to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And that's just on an individual, because collectively, you know, that's so major.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say why it's major, because some things are just so insensitive to what's going on in our culture right now. Because one of the celebrities, mega millionaire, you know, he gave his wife $1 million for her to push out a baby. And I just thought the timing of that and to broadcast that and put it in the media was so insensitive at this point in time.
Right.
You know
So
what I'm
many
saying?
people are
Which $1
struggling.
million could get a lot of people out of, you know what I'm saying, from being put out, you know what I'm saying, keeping their lights on or whatever the case may be. And so everybody, when I was mentioning a minute ago, we're not all on the same page at the same time.
Right.
And that's the sad part.
A lot of us have the attitude that if it doesn't affect us, if we don't see it in our own,
Yes.
it doesn't affect us.
Okay.
We did a big disservice to our black youth in educating through traditional means and not having, you know, like organizations that we were part of in our generation, where you had black leaders that was your Girl Scout leader or your Boy Scout leader or whoever, whatever organizations you were in, you had somebody that looked like you that could direct you. So we have a lot of athletes, a lot of celebrities, a lot of people that are affluent and can really, really usher in change with our community that they are handicapped. They can't do it because they don't see it.
Well, that's a great point, because I feel like growing up in the 80s in this country, my mom had me involved with Jack and Jill, the NAACP, you know, there were so many different groups Mom had me doing doing oratorical contests here. And there was an organization in Maryland, it's called MESA, Mathematics, Engineering, Science Achievement Program. I was part of that, but it was geared to get minorities, women, children, but they wanted black. It was specifically for that,
We
right?
had a lot of good programs.
Yeah,
back in the
there
day.
are. We had a lot that was trying to push us, but somehow there was a disconnect that happened where the generation no longer felt like they needed it.
No, it was called it was politics. It was politics,
and
they started cutting the funding.
Yes.
That too.
This goes back to that
That
capital.
too. That too. But you know, they cut the fundings for some government-sponsored organizations, but these other organizations that I talked about, those are
Still going, like Big
still
Brothers.
going on.
I think
Big Brothers.
But you have the
YMCA.
You have the NAACP, you have the Urban League.
Yes.
These organizations that were once
Powerful.
are benign right now.
Yeah.
Correct. They have been around so long, and they're wholly ineffective. I don't want to hear about the NAACP Image Award. If you track what they have been doing the last 50 years, it amounts to zero, because I look around at my brothers and sisters and the conditions are worse. There was more home ownership in the 60s and 70s. It's worse. So all of these organizations that have been like grandfather clause in just because the name only,
Correct.
we need to dead them, and we need to get something new going on.
Correct.
Because we're in a
Okay, we
different-
got
we're
something
in a
new going on, the
completely
Black
different
Lives
time.
Matter.
Correct.
Are you aware how much Black Lives Matter took in financially?
No, what did they take in?
Google
Millions.
it. $116
Black
billion.
Black Lives Matter.
$116 billion. What area in our country have they built up for?
Black
for
Lives
low-
Matter, you guys have been co-opted. They've been
Exactly.
co-opted.
Well,
what
so
they
is
initially,
and the NAACP is
what they
co-opted too, because
initially
it's not
came
just,
out for, as you were going to say, has been co-opted. They always co-opt our movement. They're funded by George Soros, and now all of that
Yes.
money is funneled to the DNC. It is
Okay.
not going to where, because it was initially started based on what happened in Ferguson.
And it was grassroots, and it
It
was
was grassroots.
Yes.
And at that, and you even
Okay,
had.
so where's the money?
You even.
She said the DNC.
I just said it's been, and not only that, if you look at Black Lives Matter, if you go to their front page where they took it down because a lot of us were giving them heat, their feminist founded organization.
Yes.
Exactly.
And they, in their motto and when they speak of their mission, it is to eliminate the black man. There is no me or my children without that black man being the center of the family.
That's a
and
part,
they
right.
are Marxists. One of the women that was the founder said that they are Marxists in their ideas.
Okay.
So while everybody's screaming black, and see, you have to understand, anytime the majority starts to embrace them,
You got to question it.
something just switched up.
That's true. That is so
Something
true.
just switched
That's
up.
True. Okay.
So they're talking about a family unit that does not include a man.
Or
And that is not
as
so-
we think about the NAACP, we think that was started by what? All
started by
blacks.
Jewish. It was started
And
by
started by
Jews.
Jews.
Started by Jews.
You know what I'm saying? So it's always that. So that's why it's so important, because reading is fundamental. And so reading is absolutely necessary
Research.
for fact
And all
finding
that money you
fact
just mentioned
checking.
that they have.
Oh, on that note, guys, thank you all for a wonderful show. You ladies, thank you all so much. Here, my
Everybody will see
everyday,
you Sunday.
extraordinary women. We just gave our voices, and we thank you all for listening. Thank you all. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.